We are back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. This is amazing. We have the legend from New Hampshire, guys. His name is Josh Bauer. Josh, say what up to everybody.
What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate this opportunity, and be careful throwing that legend word around. But
Hey, you're a legend in our hearts, man. Honestly, one of our great starters, rolling starters for our back line, guys. Josh Bauer, man. Just thanks for coming on again. Start us off, man. We want to talk a little bit, get to know you a little bit more. Tell us a little bit about your background growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I had a pretty normal upbringing for the most part. I guess one thing that made it a little different was I moved around a few times as a kid. So born in Florida, don't remember much there. Moved to Texas for a couple years, and then spent 8 years in Ohio in Columbus. Not a Crew fan, obviously.
No, of course not. Can't be.
Good.
And then made the move when I was in 8th grade, about 12 or 13 years old. Made the move to New Hampshire and spent high school and college there. Played college soccer there. But yeah, I have two loving parents. They've supported me the whole way. I got an older brother. He's a year older than me. He lives in Pittsburgh with his wife, Sarah. He's a role model to me. And then I got a little sister as well. She's 4 years younger. Sorry, it took me a little bit to think about that. But she's still in New Hampshire, holding it down up there. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Middle child, huh?
Hey, they say middle childs are actually the ones who are most successful. So
okay.
Hey, I mean,
hey, I'm just saying.
And I know my sister's on her way to making her way in this world. So just trying to do my part. I always heard that middle child was like most troublemaker, which I won't speak to. You can ask my parents about that.
I won't either. I'll say this. Austin knows this. I'm the only one who's not gotten in trouble with the police. Austin.
Yeah, those two were brothers, by the way, Josh.
I was gonna say. So, but yeah, we have a lot of fun with it. I understand the sibling thing, man. So one of the words that really comes to mind when I go over, I mean, again, you said it. You've had a lot of moves up and down. One of the words that really comes to mind when I was looking through kind of your history through high school, college, even going into you signing your first contract with Birmingham Legion and into Atlanta. One of the words that comes to mind when I think of you and when I was reading all about this is adversity. So what do you really attribute your adversity to?
I mean, yeah, I think, throughout the course of guys' careers, I think, everyone faces adversity at some point. I think just being able to handle that's obviously an important skill. And I think my parents kind of instilled that in me from a young age. And I think it's served me well dealing with it kind of as a young age. I talked about moving and just, being the new kid is challenging, especially, for me, that move from Ohio to New Hampshire was at a pretty pivotal time in my life. You're young kid, adolescent, kind of growing up, kind of figuring out who you are, what you want to be and what you want to do, and making friends and the whole social aspect of things is challenging. So I think just being exposed to different things from a young age, and again, having just two great parents who have supported me and prepared me for life's challenges, I think has definitely made things a little bit easier. And I think, that translates pretty well to soccer in general. You obviously learn a lot of life lessons through the game. And I think that's one of them, just how to respond to challenges, because no one has, almost no one has a linear path. There's going to be ups and downs. It's a roller coaster, and can't get too high in the highs. You can't get too low in the lows. You got to try to find that middle ground and just kind of play with the hand you're dealt and roll with the punches.
Yeah. And you have played quite a bit all over. I mean, you were Seattle's U23 team as well, which is a lot of people may not know that. But you also played in USL. You're one of the I'm sure many that over the course of MLS have played kind of in both leagues. So when you did first sign that like first big contract with Birmingham Legion, did you see that as arriving, or did you see that as just another stepping stone to get ahead?
So I'm not sure if you've spoken to other guys or have kind of got the lowdown on how this went about. So that was actually during COVID, that whole weird year of 2020 and beyond. So my plan originally was I was still in college at the time. I was finishing up my degree in the spring of 2020. My plan was to go back in the fall of 2020 and play that 5th year because I redshirted my freshman year of college. So I had 1 year of eligibility left. But with COVID happening in the spring of 2020, our season got canceled. So they made a special exception. At least I think, I don't know if they're still allowing this or still doing this. But they basically said, all right, guys, for guys like me who didn't have a college season to play for, had no way to prep up until the draft really. Whereas like if I were to play the fall, it kind of would have naturally led me into the draft in the winter. So they made an exception for guys who were able to sign a USL contract and maintain their draft eligibility. So that was kind of unique and a really good thing that the league did just to help guys stay sharp and not punish them for signing pro and still being able to maintain their draft eligibility. So I think for me, I wanted to use it more as a stepping stone. Obviously it was like a big deal on paper, it's signing your first professional contract. But it was a very brief stint there. And I'm grateful for it for sure. But I think I signed in the middle of August, and it was a 16 game season. And I signed, I think, right at the halfway point, right after like 8 games. So I was there for literally 2 months from August to October, or whatever it was. And, I think that was pretty important just because it got me into a pro environment before, kind of the real deal or after, being drafted. So I was able to kind of just get used to the ins and outs of life as a pro and just kind of seeing like the differences. And I definitely learned some things there and took some valuable lessons with me as I eventually, went on to get drafted by Atlanta and spend a year there. So I think, it was a really unique opportunity. Definitely didn't feel like, I still had goals to achieve after that, and I still have goals to this day, obviously. So I think wasn't really like a real feeling for me. It was just, hey, this is a bonus opportunity, and I'm super grateful for it, and I'm gonna try and make the most of it.
Yeah, and then
that was 2020, bro. It's a weird time to have what I mean? It's a surreal moment. So I can't imagine it feeling kind of real at that point in time, especially everything going on.
Exactly. Yeah. No one really knew what was going on. I had no idea where I was going to be. And then things are kind of happening in real time. I'm talking with, at that point, I wasn't signed with an agent, but I was communicating with someone who kind of knew about that. So, he was helping guide me through the process. My college coach was helping guide me through the process, obviously talking with my family, my parents, just deciding what was best.
Yeah. And that's, again, crazy times that were happening back then. And I'm sure it's probably just as hard for, everybody who's signing today with, the way that social media is blown up and how to really put yourself out there. You were kind of on the cusp of a lot of that too. And then you did get drafted by Atlanta. And again, just the way that you've overcome adversity, the things that you've done. I know your contract didn't get picked up by them, but your ambition was still there. You were able to sign with Nashville. Were you like immediately talking to people as soon as you got that news from them? Were you like immediately reaching out to teams, or did you take a step back? I'm just curious. How does that work when, moving from one to the other like that?
No. Yeah. I mean, Atlanta, first of all, it was great. I think it was a good first year for me. I got to play a lot of games with the twos, which was, again, just good to get on the field again after the kind of the layoff from COVID and play some soccer again, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, they didn't pick up my option. I will never forget. I was doing a treadmill workout in the basement of my home back in New Hampshire. Just kind of grinding and staying ready because I didn't know what was going to happen. So that at this point it was off season. Like the season had ended, and we still didn't know whether our option was being taken. They said they were going to decide and let us know in a couple of weeks. So I go home as usual, or as normal, go back to see my family and friends, and I get a call, and it's just like, "Hey Josh, it was I think the day before Thanksgiving. Hey Josh, we're not going to pick up your option. All the best, good luck." And it's just like, "Oh, okay, all right."
Oh man,
wow.
just
all business.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously more to it. There was some pleasantries, I guess, exchanged and whatnot. And, I was again, still grateful for the opportunity that they gave me, but, ultimately the club was moving in a different direction, and it happens all the time. But I think in the moment I was definitely a little nervous. I didn't know what was next. But I was, I think very fortunate in a way, where the way I got acquired by Nashville, I think is pretty unique, and not a lot of guys are picked up, through the reentry draft, but that's how I was picked up, and it was kind of on a whim, or just kind of out of the blue, I guess. I'd been speaking with my agent, and he was like, "Hey, don't worry about it. I'm gonna, by the end of the week, we'll have a list of the teams, and we'll get things going again. Like, you'll be fine. Like, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then he's like, "By the way, like the reentry draft is happening today. It starts at noon or whatever. Not a lot of guys get taken. Like, don't expect anything. Like, just don't be discouraged if you don't like hear your name." And I kind of just, in one ear out the other, I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll whatever." And then I think it was literally like an hour or two later, he calls me back and he's like, "Hey, like you're going to Nashville." I'm like, "What?"
So
That's
talk
awesome.
to us a little bit, just for those who are listening. We've got some casual fans out there who don't really understand what that means. What is the reentry draft for those who are not initiated?
I
If
still
you
don't even know. I do. I go a little bit. So essentially, when you sign an MLS contract, like for me, my standard, I got the standard rookie deal that you get out of college. It's 1 year guaranteed, and then plus 1 year of option, another year of option, another year of option. So it's a 1+3 or whatever it is. But you sign with the league. You don't sign with a team, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we learned that. We've had an agent on with us a few times, and it's always weird to hear that when you sign with the MLS and not necessarily a team.
I remember talking with Walker about that way back in the day, but yeah.
Yes. So yeah, it's kind of hard to follow, but essentially I had my contract with Atlanta and they declined the option, right? So that just means Atlanta's not going to honor my contract, but that contract still exists. It's just like floating in the air, right? And then I guess with the reentry draft, there's certain requirements that you have to fill in. I think you have to be under a certain age and under a certain amount of years played in the league. So for me, I was, 1 year out of college, so I definitely qualified for the age, and then obviously only 1 year of experience. So fit the bill. My name was in the pool, but I had no idea Nashville was even interested in me or other teams were even looking at me. Like like I said, my agent wasn't even high on the idea of me getting selected. He just knew it was a possibility. But yeah, basically Nashville came in, they saw my floating contract and said, "You know what, we'll pick up his option." So that's essentially how it worked. That's why when he called me, he said, "Hey, you're going to Nashville," meaning like it's final, it's done. Like you don't have to sign anything. They basically, they just picked up your contract. Like it's like they had the option to pick it up and they picked it up, whereas Atlanta declined it. So
Nice.
kind of the best case scenario, I went into preseason with a contract, which, I think I was probably expecting, okay, I might get to go into a preseason with a team, but I might not have a contract. I might have to fight for a contract, earn a contract. So I had a little bit more security in that way. And again, super fortunate, really grateful that Nashville picked me up in that re-entry draft. But hey, I had no idea it was coming. I think I was helping my dad move some stuff, and I got a call from my agent. Like, I set this down, picked it up, and got some good news. So.
Again, a year later, you're scoring on Club America, bro. Like, so that's
what we want. First goal. That's awesome.
Yes, that was awesome.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of controversy about whether that counts or not being a friendly, but if you ask my mom,
hey, it counts. It counts,
bro. It counts.
Hey, the fact that we beat him twice, it counts.
It counts, bro.
I got your approval.
All right. Well, yeah. So, I mean, You mentioned it, scoring against we mentioned scoring against Club America. We're fast forwarding. You got picked up by Nashville last year. I felt like was really the Josh Bauer coming out party. Like we saw you the prior year, but last year we got to see a whole lot more, and we got to see just a lot of the movement and everything that was 2024 Nashville SC. And so I know that the team faced a lot of adversities. I know that just with injuries, with coaching changes, everything that happened with Nashville SC last season. So how did like the team and you personally just handle all of that adversity there? And also just going in, you've got a fresh start this season. What's the mindset going into this new season?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. There was a lot of change and a lot going on last year for us as a team. I think, fortunately enough for me, I underwent a midseason coaching change my first year in Atlanta with the first team. We went from to Gonzalo Pineda. But we also had the interim coach kind of during that stretch. So I kind of been prepped on it a little bit. I was down with the twos for a lot of it, but still in and around the first team and dealing with that environment. It is wild. It's kind of a fresh start for everyone. And I think you can use that in a couple different ways. You can use the interim phase as like okay, we're going to get a new guy. So, maybe now is the time where I can take my foot off the gas, or I can, kind of just, reset. And for me, I really tried to focus on the importance of using that turnover to my advantage. And I think, it's funny because before Gary was let go, I got a couple games under him in a row, which I felt like, maybe this is my time to break in with him, with Gary. And I know he's big on just, having guys he can rely on and being trustworthy, having a lot of stake in the game. So he values experience a lot. So I think, I was pretty happy with, we weren't necessarily doing well as a team, obviously, but I think from an individual standpoint, I was starting to get some games, starting to feel like, okay, now I'm getting my feet wet. Now I'm getting some real experience. Like, this is good. Let's build on this. And then, after that Toronto game, at home we won. Come in the next day, Gary's gone, and it's like, okay, now what? Interim phase. And I have a really good relationship with Roomba, who took over, and I owe a lot of credit to him too, just for kind of giving me that shot too, because he kind of took it and ran with it and let me get a good run of games in. I think Shaq Moore was with the national team, and we were dealing with some injuries as well. So I was filling in at right back, which was brand new to me. Hadn't really played any of that. And it's tough when the club's not doing well, but you feel like as an individual, like you're playing well, or you're just happy to be playing. So I think kind of battling that disparity was tough, because I'm like, obviously I want to be part of a team that's winning games, scoring goals, playing well, and we're feeling confident. But it's like, okay, that's not necessarily happening. How do I still make a positive impact for the team? Be one of the guys that's pushing the needle forward. So I really tried to just focus on that. And then obviously, BJ took over, I think, with 9 games left in the regular season. Again, that's a fresh start. So I think it was kind of a whirlwind of a couple months, or of the summer. And just, I was just trying to stay present, but it's almost like you're not really thinking about it because the games are coming so fast. And for me, it was new, because I was learning how to, play in those games, and just kind of dealing with okay, you play Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. You're not really even training during that week. You're kind of just recovering and getting your body right where so you can compete on the Wednesday. And you're staying sharp, and we're out there training, but it's definitely a different beast. So I think, I think it opened up new doors to me and kind of just really threw me into the fire. And I was very grateful to get a lot of experience last year. Yeah.
And you talked about it a little bit, but, they moved you around a little. You mentioned Shaq Moore being called up, some injuries. I kind of they always talk about Alex Moyle as the pocket knife or the jack of all trades when it comes to the team.
We
I
call him
kinda
the
look
Chaos King.
yeah,
Yeah.
causes chaos wherever he is for the opponents. Yeah, for sure. But I kind of look at you as that on the back line. They've moved you around. You've played, I know we played 3 center backs last year multiple times. They moved you to right back. You're playing with 2 center backs. Like, how did that grow you as a player and like your approach to different positions?
I think it just gives you more perspective. Because when you're playing, you're obviously focused on, no matter what position you're in, you're focused on the players closest to you and your relationship with them is like, how can I get that right? And the rest will kind of help take care of itself. So I think just going out and being touchline wide and receiving the ball in different positions and just having that different perspective was super helpful. And then I played a little bit of back 3 before and with other teams and in the summer and whatnot. But I had like a little bit of experience there. It's obviously very different at the pro level. Everything's more intense and guys are better. But I think you can just learn so much from it. And, you see it on video too. It's like, okay, but for me, I had the luxury of like, it's like, okay, I played center back. I know where I want my right back to be. So now when I'm playing right back, it's like, okay, I think my center back's going to want me here in this position. So just like kind of feeding off of each other with other guys, and then kind of using my own knowledge of the positions back and forth with each other with so much movement. And I think, you mentioned Lex having a lot of, kind of being able to be thrown anywhere and do well. I think, he's someone I've relied on a lot just to like pick his brain and like how he does it. And I know he's happy that I kind of stepped into that backup right back role, because I know that's not his favorite to play. He likes to be higher up the field.
Yeah.
But no, he's been a great resource for me. And I think, we have so many vets on the team where you can just learn a lot from. And I think also too, just like trusting my ability. Like once you get on the field, like you gotta play and just kind of, again, play with the hand you're dealt. And I think, anytime you're on the field is a great opportunity, and you should be grateful for it and just try and make the most of it.
Heck yeah, man. Just to piggyback off of that real quick, I'm actually really curious, Josh, like who are some of the guys that you said there's a lot of vets that you're learning from? Who are some of the guys that you're learning the most from? Like, I feel like you and Dan Lovitz have like a strong relationship. I may be wrong, but it looks like that's what it kind of looks like from the outside looking in,
Yeah, no, you're spot on there. I mean, I think probably more so the defenders than anyone. Walker, obviously he's done it at the highest level, World Cup with the national team. Great resource. Alex for sure. Dan is very smart. He's been around the block too. He's had a lot of experiences. So he's someone you can kind of come to with anything. And you also know with him, he's going to tell it to you how it is. He's going to give it to you straight, which isn't always the case. Not with guys on this team, I would say, but I think, just guys in the past, they'll say one thing and they're not going to necessarily, give you their full attention and full effort. But I think, guys like that, even Joe, talking with Joe, he's, from a keeper perspective, and just working with them, obviously center back or any defender's relationship with their keepers is important. I'm trying to think who else. And then also too, Jack, Jack's right around my age. He's got a lot of experience as well. He's very, very smart. We're kind of different players, I would say, like on the physical side of the game, but he's very smart and just someone I can pick his brain anytime, and I know he's gonna give me some good info, because I think that's the biggest thing about this team is like everyone wants everyone to succeed and do well, and we're always battling for competition and battling for spots, but no one wants to see their teammate do poorly. Everyone's kind of working for each other, which makes it easier.
Yeah, man. That's just so that you guys know, man, from our perspective, we see that, especially this off season, bro. We've seen like it almost feels like the camaraderie's gotten even stronger, man. And that's kind of hard to do when you have so many new people in there. But it's exciting for us, bro. But switching gears just a little bit, man. 22. That's your number. That's my favorite number.
Of course it is, Tunji.
Did you? Say that again.
I said it's a great number.
It's a great number, bro. What is it for you, man? Like, why is like, where does it come from for you? Why are you number 22?
Yeah, it's got a lot of significance for me, actually. I was born on July 22nd, so 22nd day of the month. My dad was born on March 22nd, 22nd day of the month.
Nice.
You look like you got something to say here.
Oh,
February 22nd.
Tunji's February 22nd. We just played on his birthday.
Oh, nice. Yeah, related.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, so that my brother's favorite number as well. So just kind of a lot of significance for me. And I think my rookie year when I was in Atlanta, they gave me 24. I didn't get to pick. And everyone, I don't know if you guys have seen the show 24, but Jack Bauer, 24,
yeah,
everyone say that. And
you decided to go away from that.
I did because, well, for one, my cousin, his name is Jack, so he's the real Jack Bauer. But I did.
He's the real Jack Bauer. Let everyone know.
He was. But no, I came to Nashville and I was like, I want a fresh start, new number. And I was thinking, 22 wouldn't be too bad. I have it tattooed on me as well. A little significance.
Okay.
It's because Josh Bauer needs 2 less hours than what Jack Bauer needed.
There you go. You can get it done in less time.
Nice, bro. Man,
I don't think I'm changing anytime soon. I like it.
I don't want you to change. I'm happy that you got the number 22, bro. So I'm like, just keep holding it down for me, brother. I got a question for you, man. And we've talked a little bit about this, but I want to know, like, from your perspective a little bit, like, what are like, and you mentioned like how you've had to kind of look at the game differently because you've moved around, but specifically with BJ coming in, like, what kind of like ways has he made you view the game a little bit differently, if any?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with him and the biggest change has just been the attention to detail. They put in so much work, him and JB, all the staff, honestly, Mike and Danny now too. And, Koski and Pickens when they were back still with the club during the change. Everyone puts in a lot of work and a lot of attention to the little things and the kind of the 1% things that will make you better. So I think I've been challenged mentally more than I ever have in my career. And I'm thinking about different ways to approach certain scenarios. But it also makes things, really clear once you get those details down. It kind of gives everyone a set role and responsibility, which just helps when you get down to the games, because so much of what we train and go through on film, you see it all the time in the games. And then like you look back at the game and you're like, oh wow, yeah, we literally trained that scenario like in training this past week. So it's like very, very like well crafted information and drills that we're getting. I think, it goes a long way when you're able to, put your brain and put your head, where your feet are. And I think that just being super clear and all the detail is the biggest difference for sure. And it's really helpful.
Nice, bro. That's incredible, actually. Well, brother, man, I got one last question for you, man, before we get into our rapid fire, man. Obviously, we're the Mixtape 615. Music is our thing. Everybody loves music. We're in the music city. Each year we build a playlist of our favorite songs. And we want you to be a part of that, Josh. So right now, what I want to know, like, what is your number one song on game day, on your game day playlist right now? Like, what gets you hype, bro? Like, what's provocative enough to get you going?
So recently I think towards the end of last year, and we've only had one real game this year, but I've been just listening to whatever Teal's our aux guy in the locker room on game day. So whatever he's been playing, but I got something for you. I'll look and see.
Yeah, pull it. Yeah, let's see it. We want to know. We're adding it to the list, man.
Let me see
I don't know if we can play it, but you know,
play it.
you can tell it to us.
Take the hit.
If Josh wants to play it, we're playing it, bro.
All right. It'll go
Yeah,
silent for a
actually,
couple
I've been
seconds.
going through a recent kick. I've been doing a lot of like throwback J. Cole, A Tale of Two
Oh
Cities.
my
Okay.
gosh.
Okay.
Wow. Yo, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm really phasey with my music. Like I'll listen to one thing until I get sick of it, and I'm like, all right, I got to change it up. So I'll go from like country to rap to like house EDM type music. But yeah, I've been really rocking a lot of J. Cole recently, for sure.
There you have it, folks. A man of culture. A man of culture. That's what I did. All right, coming right back after this break, we will. Oh, go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
I was just saying, Nashville put me on to country music. Before I came here, I really wasn't a huge fan of it, but I've come a long way.
Well, you were saying
They
earlier,
force it down your throat enough to, you know.
Yeah, this city does that, bro. It took 34 years for me to be like, you know what, I kind of like this stuff. But coming right back, guys, we are gonna have some rapid fire questions. Some of you guys asked Josh some of these questions, so we'll be getting that to him, and you will be part of it. And we are back from being back, and once again, we have Mr. Bauer here. Man of great taste, great musical taste, and you guys want to learn a little bit more about him. So we're just gonna shoot some rapid fire questions that we got from the home opener from some of y'all, and I'm just gonna get it started. Josh, what is your go-to dance move after scoring a goal?
I think everyone's gonna want me to say the gritty.
that was the question. That was actually, there were two dance questions, and one was, will you hit the gritty?
I'll say I got something. I'm cooking up some other stuff, you know. Trying to keep
Okay.
You want to smell what the Josh is cooking, bro?
We got to score goals first, so I gotta find the back of the net.
You'll get there, bro.
All right. So what do you like to do in the off season?
Off season, I definitely like to go back up to New Hampshire, see my family,
Okay.
and spend some time with some friends up there. I think, you know, just being able to travel, that's the biggest thing, because, you know, we're here for a lot of the season, and, you know, we go to other cities, but yeah, traveling, seeing friends and family.
Okay.
All right. What's your favorite restaurant in Nashville?
My favorite restaurant in Nashville is Bad Idea in East Nashville.
Okay.
It's lovely,
That's a good one.
Restaurant.
That's a good one,
nice.
Bro.
Very nice.
All right. If you could play with any player in the world, who would it be and why?
If I could play with any player in the world. Current?
Yeah, sure.
Actually, no.
Any-
I want to know
anything.
the history.
Yeah, I want to know
anyone.
history. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I know
past,
it
present.
would be most solid, but you know.
Don't listen to him, bro.
I was actually thinking someone wearing the color blue. I think my favorite player growing up, or just someone who like I idolized, was Yaya Toure. I just thought he was a beast.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I would say.
Okay. Very nice. All right. This was actually my daughter's question, so it's funny it came to me. She wanted to know, my 6-year-old, what is your favorite store?
Favorite store, like
Just shop.
shopping?
Yeah, shopping.
Ooh, that's a tough
This is a 6-year-old question for an MLS player.
And that's honestly, that's been the toughest one to answer so far. I would say I find myself in Lululemon a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Up there, they got some
comfy clothes. Comfy clothes. Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite MLS stadium to play in besides the Castle?
Oh yeah, obviously. I think Geodis.
I mean,
is
Geodis is amazing.
No, I haven't played in every stadium yet, but of the ones I've played in, people are gonna hate me for saying this, but I think I like playing in Cincinnati Stadium. I like the stadium itself. It's really nice. I like playing in front of hostile environments. So I think that just gives me
I like you play with an extra chip on your shoulder.
Exactly. Yeah, I like
that.
Now that Charlotte has the belt, we might have a little bit more hostile environments there and in Atlanta and DC.
That's true.
Do y'all know, like, how well known is the Southern Championship belt around the team?
Obviously, we've had it for the last 2 years. We were holding it. Y'all got to hold it, but
yeah, I wouldn't say, I don't think anyone's ever talked about it in the locker room. I'm sure we're all like aware of it. I think I've seen it on like Twitter or whatnot. So I think
it's big for the fans. I'll say that.
Well, obviously, like if we win it, that means we're doing well. So
exactly.
It's something to strive for. It's the one of the mini goals across the course of the season.
There you go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So speaking about like some tough like some of the playing in front of tough environments, who's the toughest opponent that you faced that you feel like you faced?
I mean, Miami nowadays, like they just throw so much at you. They're so creative and they move all around. But honestly, I think it was the home opener. No, not the home opener last year, but one of the first games last year playing LA Galaxy. They're just good with the ball.
Yeah, that was the second home game.
Yes,
that was my son's first game. He's 3 now. He was 2 then. So.
Okay, all right.
Do you have any pre-match superstitions?
I wouldn't say superstitions. Like, there's not like. I mean, I have a routine for sure, but there's not like. I mean, I park in. So I guess this can be a superstition.
He does have a superstition.
A lot that we.
He's not superstitious. He's a little stitious.
Not really. I don't have like a ritual or anything that I practice every time. But no, every time we pull into the stadium and we park in our lot, I try and park in spot number 22.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I like that one.
Takes that spot.
Is it like every time you park in spot 22, we win? Is that what it is?
I don't know if that's true, but I think for me, I just like parking in that. It feels like the good spot for me, and I definitely, if someone else parks in that spot, A, I'm gonna know whose car it is, and B, I'm gonna do something to them.
Well, speaking of parking and walking in, we all know that's one of the videos that comes out all the time is who's walking in with the dress. So who do you say is the best dressed teammate that you have? That's
tough. We got a lot of stylish guys on the team.
Yeah, especially Muil, right? No,
I was going to shout out Lex. He's got a very unique style. He's New York City.
Mm-hmm.
I like his style though. I'm trying to think who else. I go around the locker room right now. I'll shout out Schaffelberg too. He's got like a good little kind of urban dad style going on right now that he's really rocking.
Urban dad style. You heard it here, guys.
I'll take that. What's your favorite soccer club outside of MLS?
I've always said that I don't like diehard support a team. I see you pointing to the flag.
I got to. We're gonna win the league this year. So
I've never like diehard claimed a team. I just like watching good soccer, honestly. But I think Manchester City. But it's tough.
Brother.
Come on, man.
Listen, I know. Listen, I when he was playing for City, I think that one just sticks with me. But again, I'm not that guy who's like, I've been with City since day one. Like they're my team.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
see. They're both big EPL fans, so I don't follow it as much. I'm more a Bundesliga fan, so that's a little scrappier. I feel like.
But I like my club team growing up. When I was in New Hampshire, I don't even think it exists anymore. But GPS New Hampshire, and we had like the Bayern Munich kits with the collars. So like I
yeah. Like that. I got this right here. Yeah, Bayern Munich. There we go. All right, so this one is, what is your favorite, or in your opinion, what is the best soccer movie of all time?
Soccer movie of all time. I don't even know like a name. I don't watch a lot of like soccer related stuff. Like I watch like Ted Lasso and stuff. I was like,
there you go.
I watch enough soccer outside of that. I don't even know. Give me some.
Bend it like
And you got, you know,
Beckham.
The big
yeah,
green.
bend it like Beckham. The big green. You got goal, if you've ever seen it.
She's
Yeah,
the Man is technically a soccer one.
I think I like more like the documentaries.
Okay.
Nowadays,
Okay.
the inside looks at some of the teams.
Hey, the
Yeah.
David Beckham one was really good, actually.
Yeah, that one was good. There was a book that I read, but I don't know if they ever made it into a movie. When I was a kid, I was like obsessed with it. I forget what it was
What was
called.
it? Last Goal Wins.
What's the book?
I'm trying to. It's crazy. I can't remember now. It was literally I read it.
The Next Goal Wins, I guess.
No, it wasn't Next Goal Wins. I don't know. I'll get back to you guys. We'll circle
All
back.
right.
But,
Okay.
All right.
yeah, I know.
Next
Sorry, bad
question.
answer.
All right.
You're good,
your
bro.
best.
You're good.
It's all good. Your best friend comes to town. Where's the first place that you're taking them?
I would probably take them somewhere over in East because I like East a lot, but it's tough.
Ernie's
Like, I'm saying,
Boondocks, bro.
for the first time, I might not go with them, but I'll send them to Broadway. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
Hey,
the right. That's
You,
the right
you've
answer.
become a Nashvilleian when you say it that way. You're like, hey, I'm not going to go with you, but you should check out Broadway. Like,
No, there's literally times where I'm like, listen, especially if it's like multiple buddies that come, I'm like, guys, go out, like have a great time. I'll have training in the morning, whatever. I'm like, I'll see you guys later. Like, you guys go have fun. You don't need me there.
even if you didn't have training, I wouldn't go down there.
Yeah,
I love downtown. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, no, it's not. I'm not spending $22 on a beer, regardless of how much we love the number.
But in the morning for sure, I'll make sure we'll get breakfast sandwiches at H&S Bagel.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Very nice.
All right. This next question is very important, Josh. It's very important.
If you can see it.
You see this right here? This neon sign?
Pokemon, correct?
It's yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love how you had to ask, but yes.
All right,
I need I need to know this. Actually, the fans need to know this.
Yeah.
Who on the team is most likely to have a secret Pokemon collection?
Or is it not a secret?
Most likely to have a secret Pokemon collection. Maybe Johnny Perez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The young gun.
Some sneaky Pokemon. Or honestly, this one might not be sneaky, but Taylor. I feel like Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
I can see that. He likes
I can
anime.
see that.
He
I
likes
could easily
anime.
see
Taylor
that.
Washington. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's not. His wouldn't be a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bet. So we got the
Guess he
outright
just
one and the
didn't
secret
talk
one. Good.
Yeah. Which teammate would get a standing ovation at karaoke?
Standing ovation.
You know, it would have been Fafa, but who is it now?
Yeah, Fafa, obviously. No, I think Lex probably takes that. He's gonna put the most heart into it. He's gonna give it his all for sure.
I like
All
that.
right. Very nice.
I like that. All right. What is your favorite TV show to binge?
Peaky Blinders.
Oh, so good.
That's a good one.
Such a
That
good
was a good
show.
one.
That's something that who brought that up to us? Austin. Who was it that was at Southside with us?
I
Yearwood.
don't remember.
Yearwood
At this-
talked about
was it
Peaky
Yearwood?
Blinders.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say
He talked about Suits as well being
Yeah.
his, because I love Suits as well. So
Suits is a good one for sure. Yeah, it got a little repetitive for me though, and once Mike left, I was just like,
yeah, I was like, yeah, that's when it kind of went downhill. I'm currently rewatching, and yeah, it's like, okay, I see this is where it hits its dead spot.
they're coming out with the Suits LA, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
first
that's LA,
episode-
yeah.
I think it
first
might- is it
episode
out?
just dropped.
What's
Yeah,
his name?
first
What's his
episode.
name from Green
Stephen
Arrow?
Amell.
Yeah.
I might have to check that one out.
Yeah, let us know, man.
First episode, huge bomb drop that I was like, what? Like right at the end of it. So
All right.
Come on, man. No spoilers, bro.
no spoilers, and just boom.
All right, Josh. Last question, man. We'll let you get out of here, brother. And I think we already kind of talked about this. If it's what I think it is, I'm not going to be happy with your team. But what's your favorite sport to watch when it's not soccer?
Yeah, that might have changed actually this year because I would say basketball usually in the Celtics, but I just started last year was my first year playing fantasy football, so I was like all in on NFL.
Nice.
And I thought that was really cool.
Do you got a team that you follow, or are you just watching the league overall?
I think watching the league overall, when it comes to NFL, I'm more of a hater. Like I hate a lot of teams. I'm just like rooting on guys' downfall, but no,
I feel that.
I think
Is New England like the most hated because you're quick about the Patriots?
so they used to be again, go through phases with it. I didn't like them growing up, and then when I moved to New Hampshire, it's kind of just like so much in your face and everyone loves them, and I grew up to respect Tom Brady for what he did.
Okay.
But now I think I've transferred that negative energy to the Chiefs, so I was happy with Philly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel that. I feel that.
He needed that. Dan really needed that for the city.
Nice. Well, we'll get you. We'll turn you into a Titans fan sooner or later, bro. We'll make it happen, bro.
I like the Titans. I've been to a couple games. Yeah, I like to root for the home team. So like when I was in Atlanta that year, the Braves won the World Series. So that was like really
there you go.
behind.
So you said your brother's in Pittsburgh. Any Steelers connections there? Any?
No, I think Sarah is. I think she's more of a Penguins fan. He's idol.
My dog's name is Crosby, so.
Oh, nice.
I'm a big Pens fan.
Yeah. My brother was a Chargers fan growing up. He loved LaDainian Tomlinson.
Awesome.
Yep.
That was like his idol.
Yep.
So.
Good old LT. All right. Well, hey, we'll let you go. Thank you so much.
Hold on.
For being on the show.
One last question, Josh. I know I'm taking it out of order a little bit, but which teammate should we have on next?
Who have you guys had on so far?
Well, you're the first from the first team that we've had on. So
we had
congrats.
Joey Skinner. We had Eric Latta. We're having a couple other just members of media and people coming on. But as far as teammates,
I think you should get the Rook on. I think you should get Wyatt Meyer on. He's a good person.
Okay.
All right.
Very nice. Nice.
Let Wyatt know we're going to be in his DMs.
I'll tell him to be on the lookout for a DM.
Let him know tomorrow.
There we go. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been a blast chatting with you. I know the fans love it. We love it. And we're going to hop off here, and we will definitely see you and be cheering and chanting for you from the Capo stands. All right. Thanks a lot, Josh.
Thank you, guys. Thanks again for having me. It was a great time chatting. And, I'll be looking for you guys at Yoder's Park.